Greetings, everyone. It's time to check in again on the GA VGC Draft League Season 1. This is Umby, once again here to provide you with the recent goings-on as Week 5 of this competition is wrapped up. Now, this video is a little bit late in that regard. Everything wrapped up on Sunday just nicely, but better late than never. Now, if you've seen the rest of these videos, you already know, but check out the description below because I've got a document version of this video, check. Timestamps for the different sections of this video, check. And of course, a link to the VGC YouTube channel for Georgia's community, where you can watch the matches discussed in this video for reference and for your entertainment. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Predictions turned out a lot better for me this week, but we have some crucial results throwing things out of balance. As you can see, Mocha takes their first loss this week and Strider takes their second, greatly upsetting the order of the top 6. But more on that later. For now, take a second to glance, then we'll get right into the match summaries as there were no trades active this week. Leading the warpath this week is Bazuk with a devastating 2-0 win versus Bruneaux. Set to outdo the performance he had last week with Arcanine, Bazuk puts Duraludon in play to create an insurmountable matchup for a Bruneaux squad. Unable to redirect the monster due to Stalwart, unable to land any heavy-hitting, super effective moves, and unable to gain a speed advantage because of the Whimsicott, Bruneaux quickly found themselves in a corner where they just stayed there from start to finish. This may have been the fastest match we've had so far as a result. You've got to feel a little bit bad for Bruneaux as the matchup between the drafts just overall was incredibly difficult, but props to Bazuk and the awareness, recognizing just how well Duraludon would do into the opposing team. While Patillac vs Mocha was a match that I personally was highly anticipating, it was less than close than I was expecting. Granted, this went to a game 3, it just seemed like Mocha had a very difficult time dealing with Celesteela and Cinderace. Versus the Celesteela, it kept getting on by not being able to be taken down quickly. That's kind of the theme it's had over the past few weeks against all Patillac's opponents. Even with Grimmsnarl here to use Fake Tears to help support the Salamence to max flare it was just not enough to overcome the match. Meanwhile, Celesteela could just sit back, relax, and gradually gain an advantage through max airstreams, Beast Boost, and offensive type coverage. Not even Swampert is safe with having access to max Overgrowth as an example. Additionally, it was difficult to position Spectrier for Mocha, as Patillac patiently kept Cinderace hidden until the final turns of the games. With it being lower on health, all I had to do was Sucker Punch to close out the match. All that said, these two adversaries have some of the better drafts in the league, I think, so it was great to finally see them matched up versus each other. Unfortunately, this next match wasn't recorded, but Luminary puts their second win on the board as they overtake Eeveenescence 2-0. On your screen are the Pokemon that they used, and impressively enough, Luminary didn't have to adjust their lineup between games to claim their victory. And honestly, I like the options. With Fake Tears available from Grimmsnarl, I can see Tapu Fini putting in a lot of work, preventing Yawn and Hypnosis from working from Umbreon and Gothitelle respectively, and taking little to no damage outside of the Thundurus. Umbreon can resist the Fake Tears due to Prankster not working on it, and then snarl it back to reduce its power, but it's going to have a lot of trouble dealing with the Spirit Break from Grimmsnarl and possibly even High Jump Kick from Cinderace. I know I really reiterate this each week, but it looks like this is another case where Eeveenescence's offense is just lacking in comparison to the great defensive tools that she has. On the opposite end, Luminary used what I believe to be their strongest units in their draft to push themselves up in the standings. Now, as I don't have further details on the match with the turn-by-turn, at the end of the day this is all just speculation, but it's kind of fun to think about. Alright, for this next one, I'm gonna apologize for any bias that might show, but I've been waiting for the strategy that Professor Walnut used to win this one. Speed Swap Ribombee. One of the downsides I harped on early on in this season is how Professor Walnut's team has a problem with speed control, in the sense that it doesn't have any. There's no access to Fast or Prankster Tailwind, and while he has access to Trick Room through the Slowbro in his draft, there's not a ton of incentive for him to bring it along each week. nor are there any Pokemon in the lineup that truly abuse it, so they've been relying heavily on bulk and the use of Follow Me from Togetic. So for this matchup at least, the quickest way around it was Ribombee. At a whopping base 124 speed, using Speed Swap to support Porygon Z allowed Professor Walnut to vastly outrun and outgun Strider's team. To make things worse, Ribombee also comes equipped with the Sweet Veil ability, so no Sleep Powder for Venusaur, no Yawn from Torkoal, all of it shut down. Strider valiantly fought back, hoping to use the good bulk of Goodra, especially the special defense side, to slow things down a bit, but without enough resistances, utility, or speed, he was unable to prevent the shutout. Professor Walnut 2-0. Papi Cantan vs Sanaito was a match. To begin with, both players forgot to make crucial moveset adjustments on their Excadrill and Sneasel respectively, which greatly affected how the matches played out. To that end, props to Cantan for how well they hid the fact that they did not have a Rock-type move to deal with the Zapdos. Instead, they found scary positions for the Excadrill to chip away at Sanaito's team through other Pokemon, letting Life Orb and Sandstorm chip away at the Zapdos. With appropriate timing, Urshifu could then close out the kill with Sucker Punch, making it difficult for Sanaito to then do damage, with him mostly being equipped with support-type Pokemon. Fortunately enough for Sanaito, Game 3 allowed him to position and Dynamax Zapdos in the endgame, once Cantan's resources were all spent. With still some luck needed from there, Sanaito grabs a 2-1 victory, likely to the surprise of anyone watching this one. Seriously, go check that one out on the GA VGC channel. Lastly, we have another 2-0 going in Papa Shuckle's favor as he faces off against Esquire. Not too much to say about this one, and it's not completely Esquire's fault. This matchup follows this week's trend of simply having a disadvantageous matchup. It seems like they were eager to take out their new Pelipper and Kingdra combo for a spin, but felt that the threat of Gastrodon was just too strong to bring them along. As an alternative, they tried to carry their team's damage through Raikou and Venusaur and their speed through Crobat, but Papa Shuckle only needed to rely on their favorite combo of G-Max Charizard and Sunny Day Klefki to solidly crush the early game and then slide into an easy late game. So for anyone that's been following this weekly report, note that this upcoming week is going to be a break for our competitors, as some of them are traveling to Indianapolis for the regional VGC event on the weekend of May 6th. I'd like to take this time to wish everyone good luck and to stay safe on their travels, but once we get back, they'll be tossed into the matchups currently showing on your screen. I've got my thoughts on who will come out on top, highlighted in blue, but let me know what you folks think. Keep an eye out particularly for Sanaito vs Professor Walnut, as it has some interesting connotations as to how the standings will play out as we get closer to the end of regular season matches. Speaking of said standings, Sanaito shoots straight to the top with a great game differential that all but secures him a playoff spot, as long as he closes out the final 2 weeks strong. Mocha's got a solid lead on the rest of the pack as well, but from there, it's just about anyone else's game. Professor Walnut's win this week was very crucial, being one of the 2 hurdles that I mentioned the previous week, being Strider, and then upcoming week going up against Sanaito, who's currently the number 1, as it puts him in arm's length of a top 6 placing, but he'll have to win out from here. Things are technically possible as you get lower to the end of the standings to kind of sneak in a spot, but they also have to win cleanly with 2 zeros across the board for the remaining weeks, and still they have to heavily rely on losses from the players that are higher up on the ranking. Week 6 is going to shut the door on them if they're not careful, so it's time to break out any hidden strategies and see if they can claw their way back. And that's it for week 5. Again, next week will be a week off from matches. However, last video I said I might revisit the tier list / analysis that I did prior to week 1 and try and revamp it. So I'll probably use that opportunity next week in lieu of the usual report, and hopefully it'll be interesting enough. Stay tuned for that, and drop some feedback in the comments. I would like to know what you want to see more of or less of, just anything in general. Until next week though, take care, and thanks for watching.